I move that we return to regular session and exit executive session.
So moved.
And second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Councilmember Kay, would you have a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to move that we approve the mediation settlement agreement.
Second? So moved, yes, I approve.
We want to vote?
Yes.
Councilmember Berner, in favor?
approve, yes.
Councilmember Farrell,
I approve.
Councilmember Kay.
Approve.
I had recused myself from the mediation itself. As I had indicated at the time that I was supportive of the process and said we needed to trust the process. And that process has occurred. I'm supportive of the process that has occurred. And I defer to the judgment of my fellow council members with regard to the outcome of that process, but consistent with my prior recusal, I will abstain from any vote on this particular matter. Motion carries.
So
Now I would invite some explanation of what it is we just agreed to.
let me make a couple of comments about our goals going into mediation. And in no particular order, one of the things we want to do in thinking about Kiawah and the environment of Kiawah, we wanted to make sure that we maintained or enhanced any buffering about any of the developed properties that we were talking about. That was really our number one priority. Part of that was no further reduction to the maritime forest. And there were some issues we had to talk through around that, but that was, again, critically important as the overall thought process around the buffering. The third thing, and probably the one that everybody thinks about, is we did want to provide for adequate parking for club members. We saw that it was an important need, and we didn't want to end up with a problem down the road. We also wanted to maximize traffic safety for all affected areas, the neighborhoods that were contiguous to the Cape and to Ocean Pines and to Upper Beachwalker. Traffic safety and the safety of pedestrians in those areas was, again, of critical importance. We wanted, importantly, to find a solution that allowed the club to open. That's what a lot of the community wanted, certainly the club members wanted, certainly the partners wanted, but we needed a solution, a path to get there to allow the club to open and operate in a safe and efficient manner within the context of Kiawah. We wanted to ensure, as best as we could, minimal future complaints about illegal parking. I mean, this was, again, kind of the flip side of the coin about ensuring parking. We didn't want to be 5 years down the road and have the neighborhood complaining about cars parked on the side of the road. So we had to provide or find a way to provide for parking. We did not want to allow any additional backdoor access, if you would, to Captain Sam Spit. Captain Sam Spit was not part of the negotiation at all, but in our thought process, we wanted to maintain whatever access that the partners had, but not allow any additional potential accesses that would concern us. We also wanted to wrap all of these issues into one big package. We wanted to talk about the Cape, Ocean Pines, and Upper Beachwalker, all of that together, plus any other issues into discussion, and have a long-term solution so that we wouldn't be here again in a year or two talking about maybe Upper Beachwalker. So we really wanted to get our arms around as much of the issues as we could in this negotiation, to the extent that it was relevant and important to the settlement. I think to the community, importantly, we wanted to settle all the lawsuits, minimizing any future legal costs. That was certainly at part of our thought process. And so ultimately, what we needed to do was provide a fair and just outcome for all parties involved. That was really, at the end of the day, what the goal of the whole thing was. And that included the residents of Kiawah, the residents of the contiguous neighborhood, certainly, the residents of the Cape, the partners, and the town of Kiawah. Make sure that everybody felt as comfortable as they could. Now, nobody wins in a mediation or a negotiation, but to the best extent possible, we want to have a just and fair outcome for all of those parties. So that's what we set out to do over the course of a couple of days. And I think we had a very good group of folks who were doing this, who had the same goals and objectives in mind broadly, to get a good outcome for the community. And I think I'll turn it over to Mr. Berner now, Councilman Berner, to talk about that outcome and what it actually was. Mr. Berner?
Thanks, Luke. So there's a lot of things on our plate that we discussed at this mediation, and a lot of things that we came to a mutual agreement on. In no particular order, I'm going to first discuss the extended or the proposed extension of the Cape Point Road. That was to go from, I guess, the entrance of where Beach Walker Park is now, all the way down to the building. That extension is going to be abandoned. That Cape Point Road extension is deleted, and it's going to be maintained with very, very robust buffering and actually increased vegetation that we have now. In order to provide services to the new club, at the location where Beach Walker Park now the entrance is, there is going to be a new traffic turnaround. I'll call it a mini circle. At that point, there are traffic, the service vehicles will have a location to unload, and carts will then have access to the interior roadway network of the Cape to use small gators or other ATVs to provide the needed services and materials to the club. At that same location, there's going to be a couple of, they're not parking spots, but there's a place where guests to the club can park and have valet service, then take their car to other locations for parking. With respect to parking, the town originally wanted 88 spaces for permanent parking. The partners, I think, wanted 56 or 57.
57.
How many?
57.
57. We have ultimately agreed that 75 spots will be provided for the Cape, and they're broken down into 2 or 3 different locations. One, as Luke said, that a major goal was to minimize traffic flow going through the Duneside Road access, and we've accomplished that. So right now, there will only be 8 parking spots that will be accessed through Duneside or via Duneside. Those 8 are going to be 4 handicap spots and 4 spots for the cottages. On Ocean Pines, an additional 59 spots will be provided that are going to be entirely accessed off of Beach Walker. And that is, again, to provide safety to the community because that roadway network is not going through a neighborhood. Now, there's a remaining balance. So up at the Upper Beach Walker location, right now at Parcel 9, the remaining balance of 16 spots of that grand total of 75 will be provided up at that location. Those 16 spots will not be double counted in any kind of development that is going to be eventually constructed up at that Upper Beach Walker location. So that is the overall, I shouldn't say that, there's one more thing. And at the Ocean Pines location, 2 buildings are being removed. So we're going to have less density, less dwelling units, and Cape parking at the Ocean Pines site. With respect to the Upper Beach Walker area, the partners had 2 site plans that were submitted for approval.
One site plan for Upper Beach Walk.
One site plan for Upper Beach Walker and one for the church. So we have agreed with the partners that on Parcel 9, the upper floor, which was called the penthouse, is going to be removed.
Parcel 11.
Parcel 11.
Parcel 11.
Parcel 11. So those buildings on parcel 11 are going to have the penthouse dwelling unit removed. On the church parcel, there were 4 buildings that were cited that were very close together. One of those buildings are going to be removed. And we didn't get into discussion of an overall plan development, but we're going to be having continuing discussion later on this week with the partners in trying to come up with an overall plan that benefits both the partners as well as the town with respect to a plan development. That would be increased buffers, and additionally at the site right now, it's not zoned to allow a pool facility or restaurants or things of that nature. But having a planned development, though, with those kinds of facilities would facilitate then the development of potential another club facility. We're all open for having that kind of planned urban development there at Upper Beachwalker. They're going to increase buffering. We'll wait and see what comes in the next go on Thursday. But that is the next stage of our discussions. That is not part of the mediation agreement, but that's going to be ongoing discussions that we're going to have for future development at Upper Beachwalker. And we did agree that with respect to the elimination of the extended Cape Point Road, the partners have agreed that no access whatsoever will be allowed to Captain Sam Spit from that parcel. They have agreed that access will not exist, and that's part of the agreement. I think that is everything. Oh, and finally, I beg your pardon, finally, all lawsuits are also going to be dismissed with prejudice, meaning that they are not going to be able to come back in the future to relitigate any of those outstanding lawsuits. Sir?
So thank you, Councilmember Farrell, Councilmember Berner. Councilmember Kay and I are just learning about this and trying to digest it. So if I can try to summarize what you just said and what I've read in the agreement. Upper Beachwalker, the site plan proposals that were pending contemplated 56 dwelling units on parcel 11 and 16 on the church parcel. As a result of this agreement, the number of dwelling units will be reduced to 48 on parcel 11 and 12 on the church parcel. So reduction from 72 to 60. There will be where the partners currently have a kind of a unconstructed parking lot next to the church parcel will be essentially the overflow portion of the overflow parking for the Cape, 16 units. 16 parking allowed there.
We understand,
Yeah.
we understand that if there is a planned development that is approved for Upper Beachwalker, those 16 overflow spots, if you will, may be relocated to somewhere else in that planned development, and we're okay with it.
Okay, and then as I heard you in reading this on Ocean Pines, the revised site plan that the applicant had submitted late last fall had removed 2 buildings from the original site plan that had been submitted, and those 2 buildings are still removed.
Still removed.
And at that time, the revised site plan had contemplated a total of 66 parking spaces associated with the Cape Club. Now there are 75.
Right, but some of that
divided, yes.
count was along the extended Cape Point Road.
No, they had 66 on, yes, that's correct. They had 30, 36, and 20.
Right, there was a certain amount, I think 16, 18,
So
something
there'll
like
be
that.
no, so I'm focusing on Ocean Pine, just so I understand that there will now be 59 parking spaces on Ocean Pines.
59 on Ocean Pines.
8 of those are accessible through Duneside.
Only 8, yes.
Only 8, no longer the 30 that was previously
correct.
allowed under both the site plan as well as the Kika agreement. And the remaining 51 will be accessible off of Beachwalker Drive only.
That is correct,
Okay.
only.
And that there will be no extension of Cape Point Road, and there will be therefore no parking or removal of vegetation on Cape Point Road.
No parking and increased density, robustness of the.
Okay, all right.
That road is gated too.
Yep.
So not anybody can
Correct.
just pull back in there.
So,
Mr. Pomar is,
yeah.
Can I just clarify the last point that you just made? There, on Ocean Pines parcel, there are 8 spaces that are accessed from Duneside Road.
Correct.
I believe there are 59 spaces accessed from,
That's
I think
Correct.
that's what we just said.
Correct.
just to clarify that.
No,
Yeah.
well,
51 will be accessed from Beachwalker Drive, 8 from Duneside.
Oh, I thought.
yeah, it says 75, Mark, just to clarify, that, Mark, what I'm reading right here is a total of 75. So that leaves 16 are in parcel 9. That leaves 59 down in Ocean Pines in total. And that would mean 8 accessible off of Duneside, 4 for handicap, 4 for the club cottages, and 51 club
I
facility.
apologize, I was wrong. Just put that.
I was wrong with you.
The process now, I believe that now that council has approved this, as I'm reading this, now that the execution of the agreement approved by the Toki Town Council, that the applicant, the partners, will now file with the Charleston County Clerk of the Court a consent order approving the settlement, and that would also lead to dismissal of all the outstanding litigation with prejudice.
That's correct.
Okay, very good.
And Mr. Mayor, we do have a meeting, Councilman Berner and I have a meeting with the team from the partners this Thursday to again go into more details on site plans and things that we tried to enumerate in this document. But you know, the devil's in the details, so we want to get the drawings done so we're all in agreement that the drawing reflects what the verbiage reflects. We've done that before and it worked out very, very well, we thought. So that, again, that comes up Thursday.
Now, one of the issues that is not specifically addressed in this mediation settlement agreement is what happens with regard to operation of the Cape Club facility. So my expectation, unless there's an objection otherwise, would be that the town would be prepared to issue forthwith a temporary certificate of occupancy for operation of the Cape Club, contingent upon the applicant submitting a temporary parking plan for the 30 parking spaces that were originally envisioned in the site plan approval, and that was a contingency back in 2020. So as soon as the town gets a temporary site plan submitted to the planning department for temporary parking for the Cape Club facility, the town would be prepared to issue a temporary certificate of occupancy.
Agreed, we will be.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Big day.
Okay, our next agenda item is citizen comments.
There you go. So, Larry Waterhand, 406 No Egret. Point of clarification, the penthouse, is that the one on the west building, the 5th floor?
Larry, with the reference to the penthouse, was only the kind of the upper dwelling unit on the Beachwalker, the parcel 11 buildings.
So Larry, I would define it, if you look at a site plan or a conceptual drawing, it would be where dormers.
He's talking about, I think you were saying the west building at Cape.
Yeah, we're not talking about the Cape.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with it.
It's up on Beachwalker.
Okay, sorry, okay. Apologies, I just wanted clarification. 9 months ago, I expressed concern about the extension, potential extension, because I didn't know the plans, but you could see the plans, and it obviously looked like that road was going somewhere. So I expressed concern about the potential extension of Cape Road, and I congratulate you on actually mediating that it won't go anywhere. Just Captain Sam's put it that way. That was my concern. So congratulations on that. Takeaways from the meeting, I mean, East Beach, I don't like it, what you're proposing, but we'll see how it goes. I'm just concerned about how the whole beach looks in 5 years' time, but we'll see. It doesn't, I mean, in reality, it's only 3 months of a year that everything gets crowded. But anyway, we'll see.
Larry, just on that point, I think I speak for all my fellow council members.
Sure.
We're no less concerned about what the beach looks like, not just 5
Sure,
years
but
from now.
I am actually probably, it only matters 3 months of the year anyway, but I'm concerned. I'm actually, something I've been on about for 2 years. The council member today said we have our 40 million invested with the state. That's not the fact. It is invested with an entity that is not backed by the state. There's no, in fact, their accounts state there is no guarantee from the state of reimbursing these funds if they disappear or if anything happens. It's specific. I can send you a copy of their accounts. There's no guarantee of the funds. Secondly, and I've said this 2 years ago, that entity is not regulated by anything, including the SEC. I've been on about it for 2 years. It's high risk. People on the audit committee have said we have no alternative. That is not correct. So I am concerned that the impression has been given our 40 million is with a safe entity. It's not the fact, I'm sorry. I have other concerns about financial issues. I'm a finance guy, I'm not a sales guy, I'm not a communicator. I'll just say I'm concerned there hasn't been a Ways and Means Committee for 3 months. There won't be one in October, it's been cancelled. The last one we had was on the 2nd of July. That concerns me. Anyway, I'll shut up. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Willoughby.
So, Larry, thank you for your comments. I would just say a couple things. One is, with regard to safety, any investment fund that we would invest with, regardless of where it is, it's not guaranteed. The only monies that are guaranteed are FDIC guarantees on $250 million, $250,000 or less. So whether it's with JP Morgan, whether it's Morgan Stanley, whether it's the state of South Carolina, those funds are not guaranteed. Number two, in terms of investment risk, it's basically, I don't know if it's explicitly or basically a 2A7 money market fund. So the only things they invest in are U.S. Treasuries, U.S. agency discount notes. There is an availability of some commercial paper that's A1P1 plus. And so having been a money market investor, this is, if you're going to invest funds, this is, I'm not sure there's anything safer other than maybe you just invested in Treasury bills and notes. There's a limit to their maturity, which is 60 days. So it's really a cash vehicle. So we're not taking any duration or big interest rate risk.
No,
So I think in terms of investing municipal funds, this is, short of investing with JP Morgan, which I was a former employee of, this is as safe as you can invest municipal funds.
But you stated it was with the state. There was no guarantee of which to my mind implies it's with the state and therefore it's safe. Charleston, if you look at Charleston County's audit report, or they actually qualify on the basis that it's not regulated. It's not subject to regulation. That's all I'll say.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Pramar.
It's just Mark. It's Mark Pramar.
What's your address, Mark?
I wouldn't want the day to end without representing from the partners and the professional team. I thank you for the effort to collaborate on a better outcome for the greater community, everyone. When I say we want to communicate that to you, and we look forward to continuing the collaboration as we look toward refining the exactness and the precision of the plats and so forth, as well as the conversation that we're going to have about Upper Beachwalker, or internally we call it West End. We look forward to that in the same vein as what was represented over the past couple of months, but it's a thank you.
Mr. Spencer.
And Mark, we would, again, reiterate the same back to you. We felt you guys negotiated in good faith, and it was a great outcome for the community from, negotiating with you two. So thank you and the team that you represented.
I know everybody's waiting on dinner, so I'll be quick. I just want to reiterate what Mr. Parmar said. Thank you. I know this is probably extremely time-consuming for the Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Farrell, but thank you for trying to take a look from the whole community perspective and try to represent all the different stakeholders and interests. It sounds like that's what you did. I know it wasn't easy. I hope this is a turning point in how we can continue to collaborate across organizations at Kiawah. So thank you for taking this on. And I do have one question. You listed a lot of stuff, and I feel like I'm fairly familiar with the development plans. Is there going to be some kind of a communication that will summarize this?
Ultimately, I defer to council on this, but I assume this now is no longer subject to the confidentiality agreement to the extent that it's been approved by council.
That's exactly right. It's a settlement agreement. It's a public document. You can FOIA it. The town can provide it to you. I do think, obviously, we were waiting on formal drawings, and so it probably, before the town puts something out, it probably makes sense to get those formal drawings so that all of that's online so that people aren't guessing.
That would be very helpful. If I could just ask if it doesn't need to be FOIA'd since it was part of the council meeting, if there's a way to avoid that process.
No, it would be our intention to make this information publicly available without having to be FOIA. And in fact, once it's filed with, I assume, once it's filed with the Court of Common Pleas, it would be a matter of public record as well.
Thank you.
Any other council member comments? Councilmember Berner.
No, thank you.
Councilmember Kay.
Yes. So the two council members who were involved in this, the mediation were under a gag order, couldn't tell me or Brad anything that was going on. So for us today, we learned an awful lot and would be terribly remiss in not publicly thanking you for the extra work that you put into this. I know you guys did a much better job than I would have done, so thank you.
Well, I'm sure you would have done even better, but thank you.
Councilmember Farrell.
Just real quickly, thank you to all the citizens. I know I told you guys personally a couple of weeks or several weeks ago just to wait. Not all the facts are in the public domain. I hope you understand the facts now and what we've tried to accomplish that benefits for the community. But again, we were restricted from talking about any of this stuff because of the rules of the road. So thank you for your patience.
I guess I will have the last word. I want to echo Councilmember Kay's comments in commending the extra effort and work of Councilmember Berner and Councilmember Farrell. It was at the last month's meeting where I indicated that I had chosen to recuse myself, even though not being required to do so, that I was doing so in part because I had the utmost faith and confidence in the two of you, along with Attorney McQuillan and Attorney Appel, and I think that confidence was borne out. We really appreciate what you guys did on the town's and the broader Kiawah community's behalf. We appreciate the fact that the partners as well and their team approached this in good faith, and my view is as we said quite a while ago, that there was a process to resolve all these issues. trust the process, let it play out. That's what's happened, and I think the outcome is one that will benefit the community as a whole. So without anything further, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.